굉장히 많은 분들이 남아주셨습니다. 안녕하십니까. 저는 신코의 장유희 이사입니다. 먼저 저희 매월 심포지움에 참가해 주시고 또 너무나도 소중한 우리 신코 블록체인 커뮤니티의 소중한 일원이 되어주심에 정말 깊은 감사 말씀을 전하고 세션을 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 저희가 금일 8분의 연사분들을 모시고 각 이야기를 들어봤습니다. 그리고 마지막으로 저희가 패널 디스커션을 진행할 예정인데요. 원활한 의사소통을 위해서 모든 언어를 영어로 진행하는 점 조금 양해 말씀드리겠습니다. Alright, gentlemen, welcome to Korea, and I see some of the familiar faces. Welcome back to Korea. It's really great to have all of you here on this stage. So today's panel discussion is made of two sessions. First, I will ask each of you a question, and the second section, any of you can answer my question. So my first question goes to Nikita from Datecoin. Why do you need blockchain in dating application?
Okay, thanks for the question. So, it is essential for Datecoin users to be real, and that's why we decided to use a verification system. After that, we decided that we can share this opportunity to share opinion to our users. And we find that blockchain can be an ideal candidate to this role. So our users, when they will meet in real life, they can share their opinion of this meeting to the blockchain, and this transaction will include packs that include some data so this data will describe this meeting and the real person or not. Now with blockchain and with all his transparency and opportunity, it's a good way to. I think it's a best instrument. That's why we decided to use it, because it's verification now, KYC now, it's the most important thing. So that's why.
Great, thank you. And gentleman sitting next to Nikita is Matet Michako from Decent. He is actually a CEO of Decent, and they had an ICO very successfully in year 2016, which is way back in the past from now. And today he's here to present Alex project with a D application from Decent. Actually, I have two questions for you. First question is, how is Decent, which is just like another infrastructure platform like Ethereum, so how can you say Decent is better than Ethereum? And my second question is, for Alex, why are you focusing on emerging nations rather than all over the world?
Okay, many thanks for your two questions. So first of all, why is Decent better than Ethereum? I would start at why is Decent worse than Ethereum, right? Basically, what Decent is, it is a blockchain platform. So one can build basically any kind of D app on top of Decent. And why is it worse than Ethereum? Well, the reason is that Decent is not a Swiss knife of blockchain. So it's not that easy to build it, right? It's not we do not have a Solidity programming language. We do not, cover, a huge range of use cases. However, we are rather very well designed sushi knife for some blockchain applications concerning content distribution. So if you want to do POC, Ethereum is a very good choice. Release your ERC20 token and kind of scale it up a little bit. But in case you want to go into mass production, I wouldn't say Ethereum is the best choice. And this is where Decent is coming. Basically, we have 2,000 transactions per second processing speed. This is what I confidently say, but actually we are in the process of doing some benchmarks, and this would be much more than 10,000, maybe something close to 20,000. We have 5-second settlement time all over the world, so our transactions is settled within 5 seconds. Compared to Ethereum, it could be 30 seconds or something like this. And also we have custom tokens, very easily issuable. So this is kind of the first one. And what was the second question?
Why are you focusing on emerging countries for Alex?
Okay, emerging markets. So we have a project called Alex, and with a partner who has already 100 million MAU, monthly active users in those markets. They are running and Google Play Store competitor, basically a Play Store, game store for emerging markets. And the reason is that I think in emerging markets, rather than in developed markets, blockchain can bring a lot of value because there are a lot of unbanked users. We are talking about 2 billion people and most of them are unbanked and they do not have access to credit cards, debit cards and so on. So this is where blockchain, the exchange of tokens to simple cash can bring the most value to reduce the huge development fees.
Thank you. And my third question goes to Alex. Let me see. So you earlier gave a presentation about the power of smart consumer. And during the presentation, you said your project will be able to, number one, save money, and number two, save time. And number three, you said it will enable for people to save their health. But I couldn't quite relate how they're related to health. So I'd like to hear more explanation on that.
Okay, thank you. It's one of my favorite questions. Thank you for that. We have 3 steps strategy how to secure health of every human on the planet. The step number 1 is following. Do you know anybody in this room that during last years, most of manufacturers, due to the cutting cost, decrease the quality of ingredients? Do you know that there are still ingredients used in the products which initiates cancer and obesity? I guess that nobody knows that. And I didn't know that as well. And the problem is, even it's written on the packaging, the name of its ingredient, we don't have time and we don't have the knowledge. What we do is a step number 1. By using our existing developed technologies, based on AI, artificial intelligence, we will deliver this information, reliable data, to the consumers, to every human on the planet, to make conscious and educated decision. This is step number 1. Step number 2 is following. When you book the hotel, you go to Booking.com or any other site. What you use hotel rating. Well, how it's built? It's based on peer-to-peer rating. Is it exist in food retail? No. Step number 2, what we are doing with help of consumers is understanding of the quality of ingredients. We are creating the product ratings, and peer-to-peer can share its data, meaning to support each other to living more healthy. And the step number 3 is following. Now we are partnering with a number of healthcare startups. One of them is a startup based in California, in Silicon Valley, Long Genesis. The guys, what they do, they collect the healthcare data about your health, about your treatment, and what we do in OSA, we collect the data about the product ingredients and about the consumption of each human, of each consumer. Meaning, what our mission is, in the period of 3-5 years, to collect the data from consumption, connect it with the data from healthcare, and our AI, which I believe, will find uncertain dependencies, which will show us what kind of the ingredients and what kind of the lifestyle influence on the people's sicknesses and diseases. And we fight against that. And I will help it. And for sure, blockchain will help very much to secure reliable data from any manipulation, because it will come. Just imagine about the product rating. The product rating will become the most valuable currency in product retail. What has happened? All big manufacturers and all small manufacturers will fight to increase the product rating rather than decrease the quality of ingredients. And this is our mission, to bring to the people on the planet, to unite every consumer and to create consumer power, to become the real member of consumer product retail and dictate what I want to eat, when I want to eat, and for how much I want to eat. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question goes to Anton from TradeWise. We are in a bearish market right now, and many investors here, they may trade beside investing in ICO projects. So one question a lot of people ask me personally also is, can we make money or profit in a bearish market using some special algorithm or trading techniques?
Thank you very much for the question. definitely the most important question for every crypto holder and for any investor nowadays. So first of all, I need to say that with Tradilize, nobody will ask such type of questions because everybody will know that with Tradilize they can do it. But actually, how does it work now? Definitely, to make money on bearish market, you have to be very well seasoned and professional guys. So do traders. And that's why we have created the platform to investors to copy the trades. How does it work technically? Some of cryptocurrency exchanges now allows to borrow some crypto assets and to sell it. And after, to buy it once again, but a little bit cheaper, which means that I, as a trader, can borrow Bitcoin when it was like $10,000 per one Bitcoin and sell it for $10,000. And in 2 days, it drops till $9,000, which means that I made a profit in $1,000 if I buy it now. And moreover, there are a lot of turbulence while the price is falling down. And professional guy can catch all these single movements, even on bearish market. That is it.
Right, thank you for your answer. And we have a special guest from Korea, so it's kind of exciting to have another Korean on the stage here. Will, during your presentation, you said decentralized M&A, and when we hear the word M&A, usually it's very aggressive and it's very hostile. But I think what you mentioned was quite the opposite of that. And I'd like to hear more elaboration on what you really meant by decentralized M&A.
So as you can see, there's been so many potential individuals who can eventually become successful business owners. But the problem is when they want to scale up their business, they're not able to scale up easily. It's because of some issues such as because they are not able to understand, or they don't know how to utilize technology itself, right? So what we like to do is, for example, let's say you own a shop and you already have connection to over 200 or 300 people. Then what it can do is, we can just give you a platform for free. So now what it can do is you can just bring all the customers into your platform so that you can operate your platform for free. So we can support all the technology and also other infrastructures. So that business owner, even before they can only operate their business in one town, now they can open their business nationwide, right? And then because of that, we can somehow track all the cash flow, and then later we can measure the actual valuation of this business. And if this business won, we can help them do ICO as well. So basically what we like to do is they can easily increase their actual valuation from, let's say, $100,000 as a freelancer, $10 million as a medium-sized business owner, then later $100 million tech business owner. So we want to make it as much as is possible, so that once we can have these companies, they can join our network, so that we can continue to grow our community together based on token economy. That is a core part of the decentralized M&A. And also, we are not going to take any equity or stock, so they can also have their own business identity by operating their business and also joining our decentralized M&A program. Hope that helps. Yeah.
Of course, thank you. And next to Will, we have Jeff from Vantage Network. And this kind of projects really excites me, and I think we truly need more projects like this in our world. My question for you is, so you're doing an ICO right now, and where do you see yourself after the ICO?
Sure, thank you very much. That's a great question. So, as I mentioned earlier, I come from 18 years in the software development and mobile development space. So right now our focus is on delivering our platform to the marketplace by the end of this year. After completing the ICO, we are actively signing up nonprofits and charities on a weekly basis that want to get involved with our program. So our goal is to launch our platform, start tracking charitable contributions by the end of the fourth quarter of this year. at the pace we're operating now, we would like to have over 100 nonprofits on the network by the beginning of next year. By the spring of 2019, our goal is to provide contribution tracking platform for an actual initial coin offering. So that's the long term and the short term and the long term goal for us. And I think that would be a very exciting thing to do.
Very good plan. Thank you. And next to that, we have Ruslan from Tradingene. Personally, I'm kind of curious. I have two questions for you. Number one question will be, where did this name come from, Tradingene? And also another question is the same thing. I mean, I think it takes a long time to build a good system for trading. So I think it's going to be rather a long-term project, if I'm not wrong. So in 7 years, where do you see yourself?
Okay, thank you. So the first question is about the name. Many people actually confuse our company with something that actually deal, with medicine. So basically, gene is something basic, the basic structure of the human. So when we actually, came up with the name Tradingene, we mean something that is a basic structure of successful trading. And so when people trade, I mean, there's a lot of traders in my team. I myself have 15 years of trading experience. So when you trade on the market, the biggest problem that you actually experience is the emotions. And emotions actually emotions hinder you to sell when it's a bear market. Emotions actually drive you to buy at the top, to sell at the bottom, to make some mistakes. So, and we actually decided that since the essence of the successful trading is, emotionless, so, and we decided that it's much closer to trading algorithms than anything else. So this is where the name came from. So in terms of 7 years perspective, 7 years perspective is what we actually consider to become a stable and big market player. So we think that a conservative scenario, since we have a really big market exposure with no additional KYC or flow of funds, I think that approximately 1 billion of funds on our market platform is not on our market platform, but 1 billion of funds that actually connected to our trading algorithms is a really feasible goal that I think that we can achieve. So with such a goal, we can actually expect for the, for really changing the financial industry and by making trading algorithm being, a new financial instrument.
Right, thank you. And finally, I'm very honored to have Mohammed back on our stage. He was here with us in Korea last year. And meanwhile, he successfully finished his ICO, and his ICO was very oversubscribed, and it was such a big hype. My question for you is, I mean, you seem you're busier now than before. I mean, even busier than when you were fundraising. So I assume community engagement and communicating with engagement is very important for you. So I'd like to hear more on that. And another question is actually, one of our investors just asked me on my way here, please ask this question to Mo. I was like, what is it? Why is medical chain listed in so many exchanges? And personally, a lot of people want to do ICO, and many people are doing an ICO. So maybe it'd be really great for us to share some secret and tips to be listed on many exchanges.
Sure, thanks for having me here and for your interesting questions as well. So, as I mentioned earlier in my talk, with Medical Chain, before the ICO, we spent 8 months on a roadshow. So we went around the world, I think it was about 25 cities around the world. We spent a long time in Korea and a few other parts of Asia. So we developed and harvested a lot of these communities. And actually, that's a great thing about doing an ICO. It's a lot of hard work. And we could have raised this money through venture capital. But the idea of doing the ICO is bringing together these communities to all contribute and participate in this project in the same way. So actually, a lot of people who participated in the ICO ended up joining us as employees. We've had people doctors or people from the medical profession who also participated in the ICO, constantly reaching out to us and offering us help, introductions, pilots, etc. If we want to do a pilot in any country, we can reach out to so many people because they're in our database or they've reached out to us. So because we have this great community, we want to, they want to know what's going on with the project. So we obviously have to keep them updated. And it's much better for them to see us in person and talk to us and give us feedback and for us to ask them as well things than just receiving an email update once a month saying, this is what we're doing. So yes, I've been traveling a lot. So in this trip, I was in Tokyo, and then I was in Shanghai, and now I'm in Seoul, and I'm going back to Hong Kong and back to London, and I'm coming back again to Tokyo next week for another event on the 12th. So we really care about the community support, and we want to make sure that they know how serious this project is and how we have these different channels of delivery that we're working on. And your second question about the exchanges, so we were able to list medical chain on 5 exchanges within 4 days of the ICO. So a lot of people contact me and ask me to make introductions to exchanges and how they can list their token. And really, the exchange, building a relationship with an exchange is a two-way relationship. Exchanges want the project that comes to their exchange to bring a community so that they can trade other projects too. So they can transfer their Bitcoins or their tokens to that exchange and trade them. And at the same time, the project, when they get listed on an exchange, they want liquidity. They want to get traders from that exchange to buy and sell their projects so they can have liquidity. So it's a two-way relationship. So think about it. If you bring nothing or very little to that exchange, then that exchange is going to ask you to pay a lot of money for you to list your project on that exchange. And that lots of money that you have to pay them compensates for the fact that you're not really bringing them any other value, and they're the ones that are bringing the value to you or to your token. But if you can show them that actually I have a large community of followers, and if I tell them that our token is listed on this exchange and they're probably going to set up an account with you and they're going to trade other tokens as well on your exchange, then that exchange will probably welcome you and prioritize you over other tokens. So at the moment, we're in a very crowded market. There are a lot of tokens trying to get listed on exchanges. At the same time, funny enough, there are a lot of exchanges. And for us, we get approached all the time by exchanges that want to add MED tokens to their exchange. And we're only really looking for the best exchanges because we have a large community. We don't want to send them to exchanges that don't have good liquidity or that have just started up. So we also care about who we send our community to, and we're being selective with what exchanges we go with. I mean, I can add MED tokens on 10 exchanges this week if we wanted to, but it's all about quality. We have a very good quality of a community, and they deserve to be on a good exchange. So it's a two-way relationship.
All right, thank you. So now I will open the questions to the floor. Any one of you can answer the question. So let's start from very basic, blockchain. We are all here for blockchain. And some of us may be expert of blockchain, but I assume most of us are still struggling of what blockchain really is. And to be honest, I don't know how many real blockchain experts are out there. But let's start from something basic. So can somebody here explain in a very easy and simple language what blockchain is all about and how the blockchain is changing the world? Why are we so excited about blockchain and why is everyone talking about blockchain?
I will start. I will share the opinion from financial industry. With all this blockchain technology, all our humanity, all people came to the point when you don't need the third side to make exchange from me to you or something else. So it's some kind of blockchain. For me, it's a new technology with a short way. It's a shortcut. It's a short way between you and me. So we don't need a third part. So it's for me.
May I would answer from different angle. For me, it doesn't matter what technology is or how it's called. For me, it matters what the values creates. And we called blockchain as technology of trust. The first lady, Nobel laureate, a few years ago, when she got the Nobel Prize, what she said? Her opinion was following. The great barrier which doesn't allow the humanity to grow economically wise and to grow humanity, also to grow incomes, is the lack of trust. And blockchain is the technology of trust. In OSA, we built AI advisory board from professors from many of universities. One of your professors are game theory professors. And initially, when we heard about blockchain, they said, Alex, it's hype, it's bullshit. We don't believe. Then I explained what does it do. And they said, this is amazing. We were waiting for 25, 30 years for technology like that to deliver the trust.
So I would just.
So I would like to give the answer based on humanity. So basically, we need to define who we are, right? And then when we actually look at us based on humanity, right? So we live in order to make our society better. So then, our descendants they can have better environment, right? So before, in order for you to be a leader, you need to have power or money, right? There's only way that you can somehow proceed or generate and also somehow build something that you want, right? So it wasn't really civilized well before, right? And also even now, when you have a lot of money, you can basically do whatever you want, right? But in the blockchain technology, what it can do is, hey, you know what? There's a way that we can somehow trust each other, and somehow we can collaborate together, so that we don't need to fight, we don't need to compete, right? So that basically we can create something together, and that we can equally share, and also we can measure that who has better contributions. So based on the contribution activity, some people can get more, they can get less, but it can be transparent. So basically, the technology itself is a way that can make us and also human beings make us live in a better environment. Yeah, that is my own definition.
That's very beautifully summarized. And yes.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit disagree that we can actually, with blockchain, we can, forget about the third party, because in this case, there wouldn't be so many ICO projects that actually sometimes, well, most of the time, can actually be treated as third parties. What I like about the trust, this is indeed true, and a lack of trust usually results in the high transaction costs. And so a blockchain being actually blockchain is just a new way of storing data. So, and this new way just gives you some, new opportunities how you can actually decrease transaction cost by increasing the trust. So I would say that this is just a new method of, a new approach of doing the old things.
Yes, Mo.
All very good answers, and I'll just add to it the removal of centralized authorities, because centralized authorities can sometimes be inefficient, they can sometimes be bad players, and they can sometimes favor one party over another. And that could be in any kind of transaction, and it can be applied to any kind of non-blockchain technology, but centralized kind of transaction. So the removal of centralized authority and making things trustless is very important. And really, blockchain in the financial sector and the health sector and some of these other industries that we're seeing, this is only the very, very beginning. Over the next few decades, we're going to see some incredible transformations with decentralization and with trustless societies, and making people more empowered and more free.
Yes. Next question. Actually, I have two more questions, so let's keep the answer kind of short. Many of people here may be wondering of what's going on in the market. So please raise your hand if you think the Bitcoin can recover its all-time high price within this year. Only two of you think it can recover. And let's one more question. What about Ethereum? Can Ethereum recover its all-time high, which was like 2,000 something dollars?
$1,400, I think it was.
Oh, 1,400.
Yeah.
So who believe Ethereum can recover its all-time high within this year? Just one. So everyone has a very bearish perspective of what's going to happen in the market this year.
I think you've got, so Bitcoin is a favorite among people that hold cryptocurrency, and Bitcoin has recently become more efficient with the SegWit release, and transaction costs have become faster and cheaper. Actually, same with Ethereum now with the Casper release that they're going to do. But I think because Bitcoin has become so valuable and is probably the longest one out there, and it's so simple as well. A lot of people still hold Bitcoin and they still mine it, and that can still see the value of it go up as adoption increases of Bitcoin, and as regulation increases, adoption will increase too. With Ethereum, it's based on the smart contracts. There's other competing blockchains out there like Neo. A lot of people have got expectation of EOS as well, which will, when the mainnet goes live this year. So who knows? It could also recover, but I don't know if it will this year.
I would like just to add a couple of things. So it's not about the price mostly, it's about the change of the paradigm actually, it's about the shift. So it doesn't really matter whether Bitcoin will grow or not. So what matters actually is the big movement that the Bitcoin was forced us to. So this is the first thing I'd like to mention. And the second thing is actually, in fact, to make more money on cryptocurrency, I would suggest not sticking to any certain positions so hard. I mean, Bitcoin might grow, might not. So if you want to actually to earn more, you should be open-minded. You should be open to a possible bear market, to possible decrease up to 1,000, to possible increase up to 50,000. So if you want to earn more, I would suggest being more open-minded. So.
Great. Although I'd like to, yes, yeah, go ahead.
I want to say a little. When it was a huge growth of Bitcoin in December, a lot of people shared their opinion that Bitcoin becomes a new kind of gold, new gold. But then when Chicago's exchange opened their option for this Bitcoin, in my opinion, it kills Bitcoin growth because big players from real segment comes to this market, and it's a big problem. That's why I don't think that Bitcoin will grow very fast. But anyway, the emission of the Bitcoin it's fixed. So in my opinion, Bitcoin now it's a gold. Yes, you can hold money there. And Ethereum, it's a good opportunity now, and it's much faster than Bitcoin. But I'm a little bit worried about emission, that it's uncontrolled now.
I see, gentlemen. I think, unfortunately, the time is out, but please welcome back to our event. We do this event every month, so we are such an honor to see you again and share this great intellectual spark with our lovely and great community members who are the most important thing in blockchain. It's the community, it's run by community and for the community. So once again, I thank all of you and I thank all of you. So please give a big round of applause to each other. Thank you. So this will mark the end of our panel discussion. Thank you.